Welcome to the Fear and Greed Business News Afternoon Report for Thursday, the 5th of September 2024. I'm Michael Thompson. Every afternoon, we've got the 5 stories that happened today that you need to know about, so let's get cracking. Story number 1. The S&P ASX 200 closed up 0.4% today to 7,982 points as the market bounced back a bit after yesterday's hammering. IT, real estate investment trusts and financials performed strongly, but there were steep falls for energy and a fall in utilities and resources. Iron ore prices hit near 2-year lows, adding to the challenges. Coronado Global Resources had a particularly rough day with shares down 16% after it told investors that heavy rainfall in its central Queensland coal mine had hit production levels. Woodside was another one, down 6.2%. Investment management firm Challenger fell 11% following US-based Apollo Global Management's decision to sell down its stake in the business. The top performer was data center business NextDC, up 8.4%. Story number 2, Reserve Bank Governor Michelle Bullock today gave her first speech since Treasurer Jim Chalmers' comment that high rates are smashing the economy, as she put the blame for economic pressures back on inflation, but said that so far borrowers are largely okay and there's no risk of financial instability from defaults. At the same time as her speech, the Council of Financial Regulators handed down the latest financial stability report. It found that 5% of borrowers right now are cash flow negative, with their income not covering their expenses. Michelle Bullock warned that if inflation isn't brought back down to target in a timely fashion, then this number will likely rise, with lower income households most at risk. And just for anybody wondering, she chose not to comment on the Treasurer's statement. And speaking of the Treasurer and Parliament, elsewhere in politics, Labor frontbencher and former leader Bill Shorten is retiring after almost 2 decades in Parliament. On to story number 3 now. Ethical lending fintech Beforepay has released new data on the consumer spending slowdown. Their cost of living index shows a 7.3% drop in the average daily spend of Australians, down to $65.74 in August. It shows the pressure that households are under right now, with the average spend sitting at $70.55 a day in July, but it's still up from $61.92 in August last year, so about a 6.2% rise year on year, which may well be due to higher prices, of course, overall due to inflation. Some of the biggest reductions in spending were in the categories of general shopping and durable goods. Shopping as a category was down 15.7% over the month. Entertainment and leisure fell 7%. Story number 4, the Biden administration has pointed the finger squarely at Vladimir Putin's inner circle for election interference in the lead up to the US presidential election. The US is claiming that the Russian president is undertaking a covert campaign to sway its democratic process and is bombarding Americans with political propaganda and outright misinformation, including pro-Kremlin views. This is the strongest accusation the US has ever made against Russia on the basis of election propaganda in recent times. And finally, story number 5, Uber is raising $3 billion in its first ever bond sale, having achieved blue chip investment grade status. It could have raised even more potentially, with reports suggesting signals from investors were indicating about $8 billion worth of demand. Uber only recently posted results with record levels of profit for the second quarter and growth in bookings. Uber is going to use the money it raises to repay almost $2 billion worth of loans, and the rest will be for general corporate purposes. It's a moment in time for those who remember these groundbreaking companies launching to see them now moving into these new sorts of deals where they have achieved that blue chip investment grade status. There we go. That's the afternoon report for Thursday, the 5th of September 2024. We'll be back tomorrow morning with the Friday edition of Fear and Greed. I'm Michael Thompson. Enjoy your evening.